This is going to be a processor video showing how to make a hallway like this. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, I'm Westing Tyler. Now let me show you how I can make a low poly hallway when I'm not acting a fool. Alright, here we go. Object, add a plane. Alright, let's see. Where did it go? Boop, there it is. Let's bring it over here. Boop. Alright, orthographic top view. Alright, so I'm making the same hallway in this other video. So check that one out if you want to see me fix an old hallway for 30 minutes and make it not look nearly as interesting as this. So boopity bop. So we're starting there. We're not adding doorways yet. All right. So boop, boop. You know what? Let's go all the way to the end. And I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna do this and this. I'm gonna make basically the same hallway as the other one. So should be a kind of familiar shape. But this is how you can do it when you're doing your steps kind of in the right order. Okay, so there's the hallway. We got this little big area over here, so let's just go ahead and add that, just like this. So there's the basic hallway. All right, I didn't check my scale. Normally I would have my little person guy that's like a 5'8" man just standing there to give me an idea of like actual scale. But for now, this will work just fine. So there we go. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that because these corners is silly. All right. Boopity bop. Boopity bop. And there we go. And put that like that. Okay, so there's the floor. I make the plate of the floor to give you an idea. And then we go boop. Let's say it's what? 10 feet high. Oh, really? You're gonna have a problem, Blender? Oh, you're gonna have a problem. Okay, alright then. I don't know what your problem is. Let's go into the units. Oh, because it's not on anything. Oh, yeah, that shouldn't affect anything. Imperial. Gonna flip it since it's an interior. There we go. And there's our interior. Looks okay, looks okay. This hall is gonna be a little bigger than the door width. And for scale, now it's time to bring in the door. So, just so it spawns right here, I'm gonna set the cursor there. I'm gonna add a plane. I like adding planes instead of cubes because then they start out with their origin right in the middle. Well, if you add them as an object, not as a part of another object there. Otherwise, you got to set it like that. There, it's at the bottom center already, so I just got to do like that. All right, so a door hole. We're gonna make a boolean, a door hole. All right, so what are the dimensions? The dimensions, let's say, 32 inches wide. I know this because I do actual carpentry in real life. About 80 inches high. 80 inches high. Well, that's 80 feet wide. Okay, 80 inches high. Still not the right thing, but okay. Right, that's the, oh, this is the one. 80 inches high. There we go. And this doesn't matter because it's going to be a boolean. It's going to cut a hole. But for scaling purposes, you get an idea. There we go. That's the opening, basically. And in fact, I do this, go boop, and I go boopita boopita, boopita, boopita. All right, and then I do this, exclude along individual faces. Nope, because that'll make it like cube out, and you won't have the corners right. So, but normals, boop. Doesn't look great. Doesn't look great. So let's try offset edges. All right, to get the actual frame. So here's what I'm gonna do. Boop boop. And of course, you could do this a lot easier if you just took this and did an inset with what bounds, or actually have to set the bottom bounds, or just move this down. But then you have to know the outer dimensions instead of the inner dimensions. And then what if you wanted to like snap this to the bottom and then delete all these faces? All right, and then you're doing something. Then you just gotta cut out your interior. But if you look at this, this is totally not uniform. And this drove me nuts for a long time, this kind of stuff, having non-uniform stuff, which is why I do stuff like outset edges now. Offset edges? Okay, let's see. Watch this. So boom, boom. And I'm just going to do one, then bring it over and snap it over, because we smart. All right? So Offset edges. Not inside. Oh, you know what the issue is? I haven't applied the scale. Look at this. All these. So when I'm scaling stuff, it's scaling it weird. That was probably the issue over here too. It scaled this more than this because that had been scaled in a different way. So point is, apply the rotation scale. There we go. All right, so in fact, let me show you real quick. Inset. See, now it does it evenly. The problem is we have the inner dimensions, not the outer dimensions. So along normals, that does that. And there's a frame right there. Bada bing, bada bing, bada boom bong. Okay, so I'll show offset edges in a minute for the chail rail. Let's see. So there's a basic frame, and it is actually to scale now. Boop, boop, boop. Face, face, face. All right, so I'm going to call this door hole. It's the technical term. Like this. Copy that with Control D, or no, Shift D. Not, I mean, maybe that might be a custom profile that I have, but key profile. But the point is, you don't want to do like Control C, Control V, because it like copies the materials, and I haven't done that in years because like once I found it, you could just do Shift D and it could copies what I want. It's better, and I don't have to go clean up a bunch of crap. Okay, so there's one door for the one bathroom. Now I see that this hallway is real big, so scale the whole thing down just a little bit. Now I need to scale up. This is why you should have your little scaler guys, little things, little objects to scale as you're modeling ahead of time. So 1% me acting a fool by not having that laid out. But I'm just going to get the height back up to 10 feet. And there we go. And then I take a little bit of this. And I take a little bit of this right here, and I go like this, and you like, there it is. Boom. One door, two door. These are not OSHA compliant hallways. They are not wide enough to be proper business passages. So let's do that just a little, just make it a little bit bigger. And then make this one just a little bit bigger. Make that one up probably a little bit bigger. That one a little bit bigger. Boop-a-da-bop, boop-a-da-bop-bop. There we go. All right, so that's okay. Okay, and now I'm going to grab this guy, and I'm going to grab and put it right there. And then I'm going to go to orthographic view, because why am I doing it in this weird 3D way when I could just position them like this? Put it like that. And there's no more doors supposed to be in this hallway. This is supposed to be some stairs going down. So that's that for now. If you wanted to be ridiculous about it, look at this. Okay, detach that. Isolate it with, so we only see it, hiding everything else. Do a bunch of this, don't know how many. Not OSHA compliant. They're supposed to have a specific depth minimum and a maximum. So now I'm gonna select all this, right? And then I'm gonna do a little thing called checker deselect. Boom, and that gives me the sides too. Don't need the sides, so I'm gonna just go sweep out those real quick. And now when I do this, okay, now well, this is gonna be the real deal. This is gonna be a real deal. Notice how I just turned on snapping up there? Boop, 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 boop. There it is. Watch this. Snap to vertex. Okay. And I want to set to active element and choose one of these guys. Now when I move it over, snap to that one. Yes. And then grab the others, which I could just have done an invert selection and then you got rid of the edges again. All right, I'm setting it to median point for some reason because this is what works. And I do this. And now those are pretty much straight. That one's not, but I can just grab this and go boop, and that's straight, even though it's a weird shaped stair. All right, unhide everything else. So that's some steps. If you want to be really lazy and fill this little hole here, you just be like, you just grab the walls, just extrude it down just a little. There you go, good enough. Now, look, you have actual steps. All right, so got this guy, we got the holes. Time to get the holes. All right, so grab one of our duders. and turn it into a deuter by getting the inner side there. All right, now I'm going to just select the rest, the invert of that. So now we have this, and I'm going to do this, and make it thicky, thicky, thicky like that. And then, is there a bottom to this? There is. All right. Now let's actually let's what is it? Shift in. There we go. So it's boop outside again and not inside. This is going to be a bool, right? So now is a good time to detach the wall from the ceiling. So let's grab the ceiling by doing, what is it? Shift G normals. Looks good there. Why to detach that? So now that's a separate little doodle. I'm going to hide that for now. Same thing for the floor. Just let the normal, everything that's normal along this, and the stairs are a little bit of an issue. We don't want to have like weird pieces of this disconnected, so I am going to go and manually get these guys. Normally I would make something as complex as stairs a separate object from the rest of the hallway. Did make it a little easier to manage this, but there we go. Looks good. Grab that and I will do. Actually, that's supposed to be the. Okay. And I will detach that as well. And I hide that. Alright, so now we have the wall. Okay? Okay, so we're going to add the booly doodles right here. So if you look at this, and you go like this, and you will understand very quickly if this is going to work or not by doing, and this is an add-on, the bool tool. All right, so if I grab this and I grab this and I do difference, and it cuts a hole. Great. Now, there's a little bit of a problem at the bottom with the floor. Right? I disconnected it from the rest of the geometry, but it's still part of the game object. So really what I should have done, let's undo all that, is separate the floor and ceiling as actual separate game. As long as I'm fine with the geometry of the hallway, the shape of it and everything, it's not going to be too much of an issue. But I separated those, I hid them. Well, it's one thing. That's perfectly fine for now. What I'm going to do is bring the bool back right there. Then I'm going to go boop, boop. And I could click difference right here, but I already have it on my little quick favorites, so I just do difference. And it cuts a little door hole. Look at that. Would you look at that? And it's exactly the size of this. Now, if there's a risk that you're going to move this frame a little bit or something, then you're going to have this little cuts through there. You might make your boolean just a little bit bigger so it actually like cuts into the frame itself, so it's not quite, so that the actual wall isn't quite touching the edge like this, which may or may not be an issue depending on what your lighting setup is going to be when it's baked and everything. If you have like weird shadows, depending on if you have like a low resolution texel density or something like that, it may not be an issue. All right, so that worked with the bool, but now our bool's gone because I used the bool tool. So let's get a bunch of them, put them in place. And if you're really clever, you could have a door that you have over here, and then you have a boolean that's its child. So then when you put your door holes in the first place, there's a bool already just right there waiting to chop through it. All right, there's that. All right, so bools. Now for these aren't going to be positioned exactly for the size of the door hole because I am moving them around and not building them in place. These frames don't look right, but oh, they're right. Maybe? They look a little thicker at the bottom. That's an issue for another day. All right, let's see. That. And the actual door frames themselves will actually be replaced in Unity by prefabs of doors with hinges and locks and stuff like that. So these are actually kind of placeholders. You really just need the hole to be the right size, which is what we're doing right now. Moving them into place. which again would have been easier if I had a little kind of prefab setup of just a frame and a Boolean hole, so I can just move them into place at once. There's no more doors. I've decided on this end of it, so grab this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Make sure we keep one for later. And join them as one object, just so we only have to do one operation, and difference. And there we go. So now you have a hallway with the actual doors. What's the geometry look like here? So, pretty simple, pretty clean. This could go bye-bye. This could go bye-bye. I'm sure there are others. Look how clean that looks. Very clean, very simple. You can see how straightforward it is to actually make this. So that's good. Okay, so you can see that works, and then we could have textured those walls and it would be just fine. But what if we want a fancier wall? It's easier to do it before you cut these holes, because then it's going to be one continuous loop through. So for now, I'm going to do this and make the hallway a little fancier by adding chair rail, wainscoting, maybe quarter round at the bottom, maybe some crown molding. So here we go. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. One way to do this kind of thing, okay, go over here. Let's just snap that to there. That's perfectly fine. Is to make a profile first. So, okay, so let's say my floor is right here. I'm going like that. Quarter round is like this. And this is a little fancy. You see that nice little bevel. There's your chair rail, or I'm sorry, your wainscoting or wainscoting, depending on who you ask. And there's the chair rail. And I'm going to snap that back to, no, I'm not, because the wainscoting would actually be paneling on front of the wall. So the actual wall is going to go back to here. Maybe that could be wallpaper. All right, and so then you have that going up. And then you have, let's make a fancy crown molding. So it's like boop-a-da-bop, boop-a-da-bop, boop-a-da-bop. And then you do like an organic shape in the middle. And then you have your geometric ender doodle. So that's awful small. Awful small. All right, let's see. Separate that. Let's put its origin at the bottom of it. Scale it up to the size we need. Okay, so this is one way to do this kind of thing. Okay, you make your profile, and then you just go, right? Now, why is it so darn tall? All right, there we go. And there are actual kind of standard heights for these different things. Like the chair rail wouldn't be that high; it'd be like this. Quarter round is really big compared to things. So having a good profile drawn out ahead of time that you can just trace is better than making one up on the fly. But if you see that, now that's a fancy wall. You got the crown molding and everything, right? And what if you want to have it go around corners? We can do this crap. But look how kind of, it's okay. The floor is not going to do, but I mean, you'd get rid of that anyway. Not bad. I'm sure there are ways to lock it geometrically so that you can actually, when you do your things, it is more even. But see, but you do this all day long. Okay. Then when you look at it, look, there's your hallway, or one side of it, and that one's weird. That's messed up. So you would play around with a little bit with that to do that, to get it to operate the way you want. Right there, it flipped. Isn't that weird? Maybe because I went backwards. Yeah, and then now it's flipped back around normal. So you have to be careful how you do that kind of thing to get your shapes to not be weird and to be kind of consistent across the thing. But that's one way to do that. But the way I'm going to do it here is much simpler. It'll do the entire thing at once. So we go down. Okay, that's one thing. Chair rail. and Crizzle Mizzle. It's the technical Bob Vila term for crown molding. All right. And now when I do this, and I go extrude along edges, or along normals, I mean, just bring it in a little bit. Oh, would you look at that right there? Okay, so, okay, extrude along normals. Now look, we have a fancy hallway to start. Now you can add more details, okay? Now this crown molding is not really done per se, I would say. But what we can do is add more to it by going like this. But then watch this. Oh, I'm going to scale it a little bit. No, that's not going to work. It's a complex shape. It's going to scale weird. Even if you did around the median point, that's not going to work. If you did around an active element, it's like which vertex do you want to do around? That's not so good. This is why offset edges is so nice. Okay? Offset edges. Offset. Look at that. It's just right there. We're going to have to sweep it around and connect it, but I mean, that's fine. That's not a problem. Okay. I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to go in here like this. Bop. Oops. Let's see if I can get it to scale without snapping. There we go. And now if I do extrude manifold, it looks really stupid. And I'm sure there's a setting I can do to make it not look stupid. But extrude along normals, perhaps. There we go. We can go right back in. Okay. So you can start to get a shape, okay? We'll call that good for now. I'd like something a little more organic. And we did do a boo-boo because this is not connected. And these are like weird. This whole set of faces is now obsolete. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Okay? La-di-da-di-da-di. And then I'm going to take this guy, connect it to that. All right. And now, face. Oh, now it's had a problem. Face. Face. Or fill, I think, is actually what the F key does. Fill. Face. Face. Usually you can just hold it down and go, there you go, done. It'll stop when it's done. There, now it's connected again. And now this, you don't see this. Why waste the light mapping texels? I'm gonna, actually, can I delete that? Yes I can. Because I had actually already made it a separate thing. So look, now you can see that goes all the way around. This is pointless as well. Yep, you can delete that. All right, now it's a single unified meshy doodle. A more organic shape would be a slightly different process that I'll have to look into. But yeah, so that's good. Now the fun part. Okay, now you have a fancy wall. Fun part number one is cutting holes in it. Watch this be a crap show. Boop. Looks like it worked like a charm. Looks like it worked like a charm. All right, these frames again. I did something weird, and they scaled weird, so the bottoms are a little bigger. We'll call it style. But going back, I would have done that a little differently, so that we don't have these weird big sides, big ends at the bottom. And now that you can see that actually it does cut through there, but you want to have this come up like that. Yeah, it's starting to look like a thing, right? Starting. And we can have a more complicated process for the door frames, the same as we do for like the walls, where you actually can like, make a profile and sweep it around and do some edge cuts. The stairway is going to be an issue. We'll deal with that another time. So a little cleanup there. All right, so you have this. Okay, now we're delicious, and it is time to. I'm going to do this. For our purposes today, I'm actually going. Is this a terrible mistake? Join everything. Let's be wild. Okay. Now it's just like one unit, which means that when I said earlier that these door frames were temporary and we were replaced by prefabs, it was a lie, because now they're part of the thing, but I can just go in and delete them later if I want. But this will make it simpler to add our palette material. All right, palette material added. Here we go. Wow, it's done. I can't even imagine it being better than this, unless we actually textured it. All right, so here's what I do. URASO. It sounds bad, but it's the right pattern, right? Check this out. Select everything. A. U. R. A. S. O. 0. Okay? So let's do it again. Unwrap menu. Reset. Go over here. A to select all. S to scale. 0. Boom. URASO. Almost sounds like you're insulting someone, but it's perfect. And now, these are all little doodles. Okay? So I can position them wherever I want. So let's go inside. Let's turn this gaudy yellow color off. This is an old blend file. My current default blend file already has this turned off because I do not like this. I can't see what I'm doing, Sam I am. All right, so where is it? 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 There it is. Okay. Faces. There we go. Now we can see the actual colors. And in fact, since we're not doing lighting right now, let's put it on flat so we can see the actual albedos. So we can see the actual colors, the albedos, or albedos. I think it's albedos. The albedo, the color map is what they're calling it now because albedo was too fancy. So they're the actual colors, pure colors. Oh, and while we're doing it, oh, what about this? Oh, look. Shift tilde, and now I'm walking around in it in Blender. Isn't that fancy? Isn't that fancy? Okay, so here we go. Now we can just select sections and make them what we want. Let's say we want some of that arsenic wallpaper. That'd be real nice. If I had done the texturing before cutting the holes, then I could have selected the entire thing. Like, there we go. I can get that very easily because it's connected. There we go. There we go. Looking good. It's really hard to parse this right now to tell what's what. And if I turned off the wireframe, which you're not going to see in game anyway, then it's almost impossible. I'm going to show you this real quick. Where is it? Right there? Ooh, edges. Well, edges is different. Wireframe? Where is wireframe? I thought the wireframe was already off. Wireframe? You know what? There. Okay, so this is a really cool thing about the brain, and it's something to keep in mind when you're making VR games too, is that like when something is truly flat, it's hard for your brain to make sense of depth and everything, right? As soon as you add lighting back in, all of a sudden it's easier. Even though the color is actually the same, if the lighting is shading things so your brain parses it better. So if we're in flat lighting though, you can't see nothing until you have an outline. That helps, and what that actually doing is giving us a little bit of texturing. But what we're going to do is do arsenic wallpaper, turn off snapping, just like that. Simple for now, but you know, we could replace this with the texture. We wouldn't be like scaling the points down to 0 right there if we were doing it that way. But all right, so that's one thing. All right, now let's see. I'm gonna grab all the Wally doodles. Actually, no. Why? You always got to do the fancy things that make things faster. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna select this part of the floor. Select everything that's in line with that, which we don't really need right now. You know what? Also, local mode. Thank you very much. So I don't have to look at everything else. Okay, so now I've selected all of the floor by selecting it by the normal. I do also have a little bit of the quarter round, or was it base plate? What is the little thing on the? I keep blanking on what that word is. I know what the wainscoting, the quarter round, the chair rail, the crown molding, the little bottom thing. What is this called? Foot. Oh my God! I can't believe my brain is not telling me what that is right now. Okay, so that's basically to get us. Okay, so what do we want? What color floor do we want? Let's say delicious purple floor. Looks like we're going for a Joker theme. Okay, so that's good. But now, boop, boop, Oh, I can't do that because it's not connected anymore. I was gonna expand the selection upward, but what I can do actually, since this is now the bottom of the mesh of the wall, boop, there we go. Did I get all of it? Not quite. All right, let's grab this one and this one. Is that it? That looks good. So now I'm going to expand upward and get everything that is just our wainscoting and chair rail. All right, let's get something rich in mahogany or brown or something. There we go. Okay. And so that's looking better. Okay. Door frames should be that kind of wood too, since they are also wood. I don't know. All right, let's see. We got that. Boop. Okay, and that's what we have decided is all the doors in this hall, even though there really should be more stuff over here. And going down to the basement. But okay, so you got that. Now, oh no, I can't remember what color of brown I used for the rail. Okay, just click one. There it is. It's way up there. All right, I'm just gonna grab what we have here, put it right up there where it is. And if you want to get real precise, you could do that. Or if you don't care super hard, you just grab all these points, scale them down again, so they're squished right together. So now they are the same color, even though the color is slightly different than it was before. But you'll never notice. Okay, so there's that. And then we have, let's do the same thing for the roof. And that goes all the way around. So that's good. So I selected that and I go boop, boop, expand it. All right, same thing. Where is it located? There we go. And there we go. So now we have crown molding done as well. And the ceiling, there's a lot of different things you could do with the ceiling. I'm just going to make it white for now, I guess. I reckon. Let's see. So you can bounce some of that light. That's awful white. Well, that's only because there's no, it's flat lighting right now. Okay, that's fine. And obviously, yes, we could use real textures instead of doing this like kind of like low poly Gorad shading or pseudo Gorad shading, where we're just like pretending that the polygons are all a single color each. Like Mario's body on Mario 64, you know, where his little glovies, except where they have like textures and stuff. Because it was really simple in PlayStation 1 and N64 days to do Gorad shading, where it's just you're not actually using a texture image, you're just using a solid color. So that's kind of what we're emulating here, even though as you can see with my palette over here, which I've made as which is the palette that I use, that it's just a bunch of colors, but it is actually a texture map. But yeah, so that's that. Okay, so now let's get out of flat mode, flat lighting, because we want to see a little bit what it might look like not in flat lighting. Okay, so there's that. And I'm going to turn off the, yes, we're trying to emulate now what it would look like in Engine. Um, and of course, this is Blender. This is actually for rendering. So you could set up dramatic lights, have global illumination, have it bounce around, and see what it could, how good it could really look. But as far as a Unity game engine situation, we'll go with one of these little guys. That's a daytime thing. It's a little spooky. These are just like, you know, really simple environment lighting things. But okay, you know what? Fine. Here. Add lights. No, lights. Lights, point lights. And where is they? There, they is there. Okay. Why is they not doing anything? All right, so I've added a light here. Doesn't do anything yet. Let me turn this back on and fix this since it's bugging me. Is it intact? No? It is intact. Maybe do I need to flip it? I do. And this is wonky. You're getting into Tim Burton aspects when you have this kind of situation where it's kind of like these weird deformed shapes. Again, the stairwells are something I give special attention to because doing a lot of these automated methods don't work as well. But it did work just fine for the chair rail, as you can see, and for the wainscoting going down. Um, and I think it would probably work fine here too. I think I just had my wall over here was not quite level or with the top like it should have been. So that caused the whole thing to bend downward, which means I could basically. Oh yeah, see, because wait, is that it? Yeah, that's flat. Okay. Well, then let's just do this. Let's make sure everything is selected. Okay. Boop, boop. Set our doodle to active element. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Active element. So now it's up to that. Then we're going to set our snapping on. Boop. There we go. But because of the way, because I did it when it was deformed, it's still deformed. But that's easy to fix, actually. Okay. Just line that up there. Line this up there. Why are we getting weirdness? Oh yeah, because it's actually a front and back. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Boop. All right. This guy goes right up there, aligned with that. Fixed, mostly. There we go. Fixed, totally. From the side, it looks totally lined up. Does it look good from this side? Basically. That's a little weird. There we go. Okay. Starting to look like a cool place. Better watch out. Okay, now is this one connected or not? It is. Okay, so we're good. We're good. And now that's just kind of an elevated area as you walk down the stairs. And the stairs, again, not totally finished. Not too worried about that at the moment. You get the idea. We've made a cool little hallway. It's spooky. It's Spencer Mansion-y. Maybe Victorian Edwardian era, late 1890s maybe. You know, to like 1915 maybe, something like that. Maybe. It doesn't use a real texture, but you could easily do that. Like, let's watch this for like the wall. Let's say I wanted this to be an actual pattern. Um, you see cubic. Okay. And now it's actually a wall texture. Oh, look at that. Look at that delicious bilinear filtering. I actually don't like bilinear filtering. So let's turn that off a bit. Closest, nearest neighbor, point filtering. Thank you very much. Now I can see those nice pixels. Yeah, it's hard and cutting your eyeballs. Perfect. Okay. So, that light over here. I don't know why it's not working. Oh my god. Watch this. There we go. Now it works. Because we're in the rendering mode. So, make this, I mean, we could set an actual color temperature, I think, but right now I'm just going to put kind of a oil lantern kind of situation. Do we not have backface culling on? Oh, I guess you can't in the rendered mode, maybe? Okay. So, and I can't look through anything. Oh, okay, so I'm going to position them real quick on the walls. Turn off snapping. Boop, boop, boopity, 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 boopity again. Other boopity. And boop smoopy. Okay. Boom. And now, get out of orthographic mode. Turn off the, there we go. In fact, let's make it just a little fancy. Okay, walking around. That's a hole to avoid of outer space. So that would be fixed later as well. But you could import this into Unity and you're starting to have a location. It's just a hallway, but it can help punctuate areas. It can help give the character a moment to think. It can create a sense of isolation in a spooky game the narrower the hallways are. Like in PT, it gives you the psychological feeling that you can't really get around monsters if they were attacking. If you look at the hallways in PT, they are much narrower than this. Look at this. If I wanted to make it real spooks, first of all, make sure that I have everything. Okay, that is one item. Turn it back on. I'm not worried about the lights. I am worried about how oppressive this hallway feels. So we're going to take it like this. And I'm going to be like, There we go. Now, turn that off, turn that on, get out of editing mode. The effect is somewhat diminished by the fact that, you have these empty gray voids going into outer space. Or maybe it's enhanced depending on the flavor or the kind of experience you're trying to create. But so yeah, now you can walk around in Blender. Or shift tilde will put you into first person mode. You can set your height in the properties or the of the blend file or the of your Blender settings, and you can use the scroll wheel to increase or decrease your speed. Hit G to turn on or off gravity, and then once it's off, you can do this. Press G again, drop back to the floor. Not bad. And if you mess with your field of view, it makes a huge difference. Spider-Man 2018 did not feel fast enough when I was swinging around the city in that game until I increased the field of view to 20. Whatever 20 means. I wish it would give an actual degrees, but that's fine. And suddenly when you get that 20, the level 20 field of view, suddenly Spider-Man 2018 feels super fast and you're swinging through. So 35 millimeter. Let's do it to 20. Ooh, the hallway looks longer. Everything looks farther away, and movement looks a little more faster. Depends on the vibe you're going for. Walking around these corners. And in Unity you could use C# to make like a lantern script that kind of dims and fades the lanterns like they're candles or like there's a flame inside, over time. Have some creaking sound effects. Position that play rarely and randomized and not obnoxiously like in Madison, where it's like random noises like every 3 to 30 seconds. I timed it in the game Madison, where it's like like a chair moved and it's like and it's like a door open, but there's no door open. There's no threat. So what's going on? Um, most of the time. So sound design is important if you're doing something spooky, to make it not obnoxious. Um, but yeah. So there we go. This is pretty cool. I would call this success as a hallway, even though it's very simple. But that's one way you can do that. If you like this content, you might check out my other videos, like the one that I made recently about showing my character process, how I can move from text to 3D model using AI like Stable Diffusion, and other new AI tools. It's pretty cool. All right. Thanks for watching.